So when you're talking about you're helping people in their transformational journey,
I think it's very rewarding in itself to work with people and help them change their lives. I don't think you can just start off by going headfirst into it and kind of torturing your body.
so if you were to define fitness,
To be able to just live a healthy lifestyle, more than lifespan, I would say health span. Where health span, we're talking about, the quality of life that you live.
do you have like an age recommendation of when you think?
No, not at all. I think you should just start. There's always a new goal that you can set. There's always a new target that you can achieve.
Welcome to another show on Open Mind Safe Spaces. We have somebody very interesting in our conversation lineup today, and he is a sports scientist, right? Welcome, Mr. Prateek.
Thank you.
A
Thank
very
you for having me.
interesting title that you hold.
Yeah.
And we want to know more about you. We want to know about your fitness journey. We want to know about coaching.
Yes.
We want to know about how people like me and a lot more people like me could get onto this fitness journey and
Yeah.
how you could motivate us. So thank you so much for coming into this show
Thank you for
today.
having me.
And want to know more about you. Tell us about you.
Yeah, so I'm a sports scientist. I just completed my bachelor's in sports science from Manipal, and have done my strength and conditioning certification from NSCA. So I'm working with multiple clients, working with different clients for different reasons, and I'm trying to help them improve their lives, and I'm trying to help as many people as possible currently. Yeah.
I think when we get onto this fitness journey, I have heard, and I was for a small drift of time also in the fitness side, right? It's very transformational for anyone to be in a part of this journey, right? So when you're talking about you're helping people in their transformational journey, how does that feel like for you?
I think it's very rewarding in itself to work with people and help them change their lives. I think I did that with myself. I mean, I think if you are able to do it with yourself, then you can slowly start implementing with other people. And I don't think I've felt that kind of satisfaction, helping someone transform their lives starting from day zero and then seeing them achieve their goals at whatever day, whatever it is. It doesn't really matter what the timeline looks like, as long as they achieve those goals. So yeah, I think that journey is what's the most important part of the transformation, and learning how to stick with the small actionable steps that you can take, and then learning how to implement that on a regular basis is the most important part of making sure that you can actually achieve that transformation, whatever it may be it losing weight. If you have lower back pain, then getting rid of that lower back pain. If you have poor blood work and you want to fix that, I don't think you can just start off, by going headfirst into it and, kind of torturing your body. I think you need to give yourself some time and space to actually understand what the process is like, and then implement it one step at a time. Yeah.
So if you were to define fitness,
What
how
would it
would
be?
you define it?
I think fitness is like a multifaceted term. I don't think fitness is just related to aesthetics or like how someone looks. A lot of times it is portrayed that way. I think social media and the way magazines, all these fitness magazines work, they're very, they try to push the agenda of trying to look a certain way, and that is defined as fitness. But to me, honestly, fitness is being able to do your functional tasks, squatting, lunging, running, jogging, walking, without any pain, and to be able to just live a healthy lifestyle, where you're independent of someone later on in your life when you're older, and you're able to do your activities of daily living without any support, and your health span and your is comparatively a lot better versus the rest of the people. I think that's what fitness is in my dictionary, I would say.
I think you gave us a bunch of benefits already.
Yeah.
So it's functional.
Yes.
It helps you maintain a different lifestyle.
Yes.
It helps you increase your lifespan.
Yes.
And in a manner that you're not very dependent.
Yeah, in more than lifespan, I would say health span. Where health span, we're talking about, you know, the quality of life that you live. So your health span is going to be how good your health is towards the last few decades of your life. I think that's the most important time, and that we can start working on when we're in our 30s, and or even later on. It's there's no proper time to start, but the sooner you start, I feel like the better it works for us in our favor.
Do you have like an age recommendation of when you think?
No, not at all. I think you should just start. Whatever your age is, just start. And I don't think you have to stick to one particular thing. I think so. A lot of people say, hit the gym or, go for a run or jog or something. But if you don't like doing those things, you're not going to be able to sustain. So I would suggest just starting with something that you enjoy, like, doing something that you love. Like it can be playing badminton, or it can be going for a walk with your dogs, or going for a walk with your partner, or whatever it is. If that helps you start your fitness journey, then that's the start of your fitness journey. I don't think there's a distinctive point in your life where, okay, I've started now. I don't think that's that. Yeah.
Yeah, we usually keep a lot of resolutions,
Exactly.
promises,
Yeah. I think,
make a lot of that, but we falter,
yeah.
right? So, what is that small change and step that we can take to get on and hook ourselves into this journey?
Personally, what I found that works best with my clients, and that worked with me as well, is like finding my why. Your why, as to why do you want to get to that goal or whatever it is, right? Like working on your fitness in terms of the aesthetics, in terms of your blood work, whatever it is, whatever that end goal is, understanding why you want to do that. So I'll give you an example. One of my clients, let's say he just had a kid, and he had a very strong why. His why was, when the kid is growing up, he wants to be able to play with his kid. He wants to be active. He wants to be able to spend the rest of his life with his kid in a more active role as a dad, and not just someone who's very sedentary, who's only working, who's not able to do a lot of the physically demanding tasks with his child. So I would suggest finding that why, understanding why you want to make that change. I'm sure like a lot of people, when they start, they have a very broad goal of, I want to look a certain way, I want to feel a certain way. But like dig down a little deeper, understand why you want to
look a certain way.
Yeah, look a certain way. Why do you want to make that change? If you have bad blood work, why do you want to make that change? Do you want to make that change to live a healthier life so that you can live that healthier life with your family? Like that is a very strong why. And that will allow you to make that change.
So, knowing the purpose for your change,
Yes,
will help you stick on to your goal.
yes. I think just understanding that. And then after that, it's a very hard journey for sure. I don't think I can ever say that it's easy. I think it's a, everyday thing. You have to wake up and you have to decide that, this is what you have to do to get to that end goal. But once you have that why, I think you have a good enough intrinsic motivation to keep driving you forward, rather than depending on something external, like the way you look or the weighing scale, things like that. You have a more intrinsic goal that you can actually keep following through with.
Tell us about your journey. Tell us
Uh,
how and where it started for you.
so um, I was I played state level football for Karnataka, and I got injured. So the classic athlete story, he's doing well and gets injured. But I think after that, I realized that I wanted to do something in sports. I've always been very athletic, and uh, I think that's when that shift happened of, I want to do something in this field, and I need to look my part. So that became my why. That became the reason why I wanted to, look a certain way, be fit in a certain way. I didn't want to just look good. I wanted to be functionally strong. So to be able to sprint, to be able to jog, whatever. So that was my fitness journey. That was my why. That's why I consistently train every day, torture myself technically, but it's worth it. I feel like it's very well worth it for the rewards that you get at the end of it.
How long did it take for you to get to where you are?
I would say 5, 6 years now. Yeah. So it's been a long journey, but it doesn't stop. I think you have to keep going at it. I think you have to keep. There's always a new goal that you can set. There's always a new target that you can achieve. And I think you have to think of it as a game. Like, you hit one checkpoint. What's the next checkpoint? You just keep going like that. You don't stop because I don't think it's fun when you stop. I think you want to keep playing. I think you want to just
Sure.
keep trying. Yeah.
What was the first 5, 6 months like in the first 5 years?
Very hard. I think it was,
What do you mean?
in terms of consistency, it was super hard. I think, um, I wasn't sure how I would reach that particular goal, but eventually it did happen. But I think the first 5, 6 months, the hardest part was the consistency, just waking up and being like, okay, I need to do this today. I need to go work out or train if I was playing football or, whatever it was in terms of fitness, I had to go do it. And that was the hardest part. And not being able to see the results immediately because we're very, uh, I mean, I think the
Result oriented.
yeah,
We
result
need to see
oriented. And I
what
think
it's
it's
going to
also
do.
the way like our society is right now, where it's a lot of instant gratification that we're dependent on. Like everything that we do is very instant gratification based. So trying to get through that delayed gratification is the hardest part. And I think that's where a lot of people also struggle, right? Because they're very goal oriented. So they want to, like, if they want to lose weight, then 3 days in and they're like looking in the mirror and they're like, well, why is it not happening? So I think that working on that is what is super important. And I think that transfers to multiple aspects of your life, not just in fitness, but when you learn how to go through that delayed gratification, it helps you in a lot of other aspects as well.
So, you're saying let's focus on the long term goal
Yeah.
rather than intermediate, you know, immediate ways of
Yeah.
how I could
Yeah.
feel good about myself, right?
I think
Invest in the long term.
yeah, it's invest in the long term, but also you need to kind of combine it in a sense because I don't think unless you have like a very like one out of hundreds of people who have that like raw mentality of I'll stick through this no matter what without seeing any results. I think a lot of us are very result dependent as well, result oriented. So I think you need to have a combination of both where you know what your long term goal is and you know it's going to take time, but also seeing the short term goals being achieved. So I'll give you an example for someone who is trying to get to a 10 kg weight loss. They might not, in the first 2 months, they might see really big changes where the weight fluctuates a lot because of the water retention and I mean the water weight dropping and everything. And then slowly the decline in weight is very it before it was exponential, now it's very linear, it's very slow, and that's when they tend to start losing the consistency because they're not seeing that rapid change. So I think that's when you set those short term goals of this is what I want to achieve in the next 1 month. I want to reduce my body fat by this much percentage. I want to be able to do these many reps of a squat or whatever the goal may be, but you set those kind of goals so you achieve those and your focus at that point is not the long term goal but the short term goal.
So set the destination.
Yes.
But through the journey, enjoy it.
Enjoy the journey. Go see all the other places that are there on the road. Go like detour, go explore. Because I mean, in my journey itself, I don't think I had initially I wanted to look as jacked as possible, like as big as possible. But then I realized that I also wanted to be as athletic as possible. So it's something that you keep going through. I don't think that you set a goal and then you have to reach that goal. I think you can go up and down here and there, try to see different things. But as long as your end goal, in my case, is being as fit as possible. And like my definition of fitness, I think if you're following that path, moving up and down, I don't think it should be. I think it's a really good thing, actually, exploring different avenues and trying out different things.
So in those first 5, 6 months,
Yeah.
How would you motivate yourself to wake up and say, "Hey, this is important to me"? What would you literally tell yourself?
Uh, a lot of times I wouldn't say anything. I had to kind of shut off my brain instead of so I think initially what happens is, you wake up and you're like, oh, it's so cold, especially now that it's December and it's so cold. You don't want to wake up, you don't want to get out of bed, the blanket is like holding you down. It's like, you suddenly have a weighted blanket. And I think in that moment you just need to shut off the brain and
So you're saying shut off the excuses.
yeah, and just go about the next step. I don't think you need to focus on, oh, I need to go to the gym, I need to get out of bed. So do that. Okay, I need to go to the washroom now. So do that. I need to brush my teeth. Do that. So break it down. Make it steps.
So I have to go to the gym, but instead of just focusing on going to the gym,
Correct.
I focus on me getting up, waking up right now.
Yeah.
Do what I need to do now.
Right now. Exactly.
So that I go there.
Correct.
Okay.
Because if you see, you might, out of the 7 days, you might fail like 4 days. But if you try to do it this way, at least you wake up 4 days on time.
Got it.
And then the next week you might brush your teeth immediately after. So that's a big, I would consider that progress. I don't think you can say that that's not progress. I think that's like a 0.1, 0.5, whatever percentage of progress that is. It's still cumulatively going to add up through the months, right? So you can't, a lot of times we don't give ourselves credit for that, which a lot of negative voices that say, oh, you didn't go to the gym. It's the end result that you're looking at. And I think you should see what you did do, which is you woke up and you brushed your teeth, you woke up on time. Even if you didn't go to the gym, you did that. So that's a big plus. So next time you try to go to the gym, or like, you do the next step, put on your shoes. So you're getting yourself used to that, routine and habit. And it is difficult, but I mean, if that's something that you really want, you want to reach a particular goal, then I think you will be able to get to that. Just don't constantly listen to those negative voices that keep blaring, because we all do have them. I don't think it'll ever go away.
Okay. So one is acknowledge the change that you're making.
Yes.
Second, can we reward ourselves in some way?
Uh, yeah, I think we can reward ourselves in some way, but it really depends on, like, what we've achieved. Like, I don't think you can just go around rewarding yourself for waking up on time. Like, I think that is in maybe initially in the first few weeks, yeah, you can reward yourself for that. Uh, but I would suggest, rewarding yourself for things that mean a lot to you as well. So, like,
if I hit the gym uh, 10 times a month,
yeah, that's
if I hit
amazing.
that 20 times a month,
Yeah.
that's a measurable goal that I can have.
Correct.
That says that
Yes.
I feel like I've done
Yes.
something more than the last week.
Yes.
So it feels like an achievement.
Yes.
So could I reward myself there?
Definitely. But it really, so what you have to change is the way you reward yourself and what you reward yourself with, because it needs to align with your final goal, right?
A lot of people who will reward themselves with a corner house DBC after that.
Yeah, so I don't think that's a bad thing. You know how you can make that work is, I'll reward myself with that, but instead of having the whole thing, I'll split it. I would still say that's progress. I wouldn't say that that's not progress, right? I think you're still doing the right thing, where you're making a change mentally, where you're kind of telling yourself, hey, listen, whole thing, no, half, maybe, yeah, for now.
Okay, that's also another change.
Yeah, exactly. So you're trying to build a lifestyle around it. It's not just, so a lot of times why people fail is because they think of it as, it's okay, I achieve this, then done. You get to that goal, then you're done. Like, okay, I don't have to focus on anything after that. So are you telling me that after you lose 10 kgs, You're willing to put it back on? No. So but that does happen to a lot of people because they have not made those lifestyle changes around it, right? So learning how to just uh, work around all of these small things, like we spoke about the death by chocolate, just making that half, right? The portion size, that itself is a big change that you've made. And then that cumulatively will always add up through the whole year, through the how many ever months or whatever it is.
Okay. So I can motivate myself by bringing smaller changes.
Yes.
I acknowledge the smaller changes that I made. I also reward myself over a timeline where I can measure the goals that I have set.
Correct.
So that sounds motivating,
Yeah.
right? Because I'm breaking down these complex steps into smaller portions
Correct.
that are very doable. Because otherwise, I tend to become very critical from what you're saying, right?
Yeah.
I'm very harsh on myself. Yes. But how do I stay disciplined and consistent about these goals that I'm setting?
I think in terms of discipline, I would say that's something that you have to kind of inculcate in yourself. And like we spoke about before, and you actually gave me a really good example, which is in the whole month, 10 days, right? So instead of a lot of times we look at the smaller picture and we forget about the bigger picture. So if in the week we wanted to do 3 sessions, but we did two, we feel like we failed. And then we do two through the whole month. Cumulatively, we've done about 8 sessions or whatever it is, right? But we were supposed to do 12. How many sessions did you miss? 4. That's not a lot. You've still done 8, right? So I think looking at it that way will help you build up that discipline and just start small. Always start small. Don't like shoot for the stars initially, right? I've seen a lot of people come in and they want to make a big change and they're like, I'm ready to do 5 days a week. Your body is not. Your body will give up on you after the 5 days because it's tired. It's not used to it. It's going to get exhausted. So start with 2, stick to that. Then you achieve that. That's a big win. And then that will slowly build up. So I think discipline and um, seeing results in terms of like the small results and big results, I think they go very well hand in hand. But also discipline is like having the grit and just powering through sometimes. Sometimes you just have to accept that this is what it is. But I personally believe that that happens over a period of time. I don't think that you can just have that in the first 1 or 2 months. I think it takes some time to build up. I don't think it's something that you can just go into fully.
So, to be a little more consistent, for example, if I have the goal that I want to hit the gym for 5 days, I ensure that the least and the max that I do is something as a range that I can set.
Exactly, yes.
So, I ensure that I hit the gym, but I at least do a 20-minute cardio.
Correct.
Right? But if I'm not able to do the rest of it, that's okay. The point is going to the gym 5 times.
Yes. Yes.
Right? So, does that help build our consistency?
Yes, for sure. So usually with my clients, what I try to do is, let's say I'll give you a step count, for example, right? So uh, we try to keep a floor and a ceiling step count. So a floor would be the least amount of steps that you can take in the day when you're super busy. It's a very hectic day. You don't have time. What's the least number that you can do? So let's say it's somewhere around 6,000. And then the max you can do on the days that you're free is 15,000. So now we have a floor and we have a ceiling. Now you try to just stay in between that and you're going to eventually get to that goal. It might take longer if you're at the lower end, but if you're at the higher end, it might happen a little quicker. But it's eventually going to happen. If you stay in the middle, it eventually does happen. So I think you need to just learn to stick with it and I mean, power through that phase at least.
And how do we hold ourselves accountable to this? Can there be some external factors, internal factors that I can still hold myself responsible enough to go ahead and achieve these goals? Even if I have a bad day, I'm in a low mood, even if it's the cold winter, something external or something internal, so I still hold myself accountable.
Yeah. So I think when, like, on those like really tiring, exhausting days when you absolutely cannot, and like you're feeling very exhausted, I think on those days having those small rewards
Mm.
can be a form of extrinsic motivation where you have something that's driving you to go and do that. Or you need to try to just that intrinsic motivation is always going to overpower and get you to that final goal. So maybe uh, having someone who can keep you a little more accountable, who can remind you of your why you need to get to this point.
So I can loop in a friend. I can loop in my partner.
So like making it a like on those extremely hard days, take someone along with you to the gym, go work out with them, or go for a see doesn't so a lot of times people think that if you want to be super fit, you have to go to a gym. No, it doesn't have to be at a gym. It can be outside. You can go for a walk with your dog, and that's a training session. I would say it's a training session because you're going and doing some physical activity, right? So trying to either get people involved, so going and doing like a group class that you've never done before, or like working with or going with a friend and working out with them, things like that, that will help you as well, and that will obviously help them in their fitness journey. I think that's super important. I also think that telling others about your goal helps. Yeah. Right? So it keeps you more accountable. Yeah. Right. I tell my friend that I'm starting the gym, or I tell my friend that I'm going to want to read books, right? Or I'm going to pick up a new habit. Correct. Right. So telling people about my goal, I want to quit smoking, I'm going to quit drinking, or whatever the goal that you have, right? Yeah. If you tell people about that more often, you tend to feel more responsible about it. Right. Yeah, I definitely think that does happen, but I also feel like um, you need to be very aware of how much you are telling them, because it can have a negative impact on you. Especially, let's say you say, I'm going to hit the gym, and you tell your friend, and that person is super consistent and they show up to the gym every day, and you tell them, I'm going to hit the gym, like let's go together and whatnot, and then you don't go 2 3 days, and then that negative feeling that you have, the feeling of uh, it can be multiple things, maybe feeling of failure, you're not able to show up. So you need to just ensure that that first goal that you set for yourself is something that's very achievable. So like the smart goals that we talk about, right? So specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time bound. So set something like that, something where you can actually achieve it. It's not excessive where you don't feel like, I mean, if you don't achieve it, you feel really bad about yourself. And when you share it with someone and you don't achieve it, then again, that negative feeling that you have, that's at least taken away, because you can get to that goal a lot easier. So reinforcements can be positive reinforcements and negative reinforcements, right? For us to ensure that we're still consistent with our goals. Yes. So probably even putting down like an activity schedule will help, right? Where I'm flexible with my goal. Say I want to hit the gym every day at 7 in the morning, but I missed it. I could also be flexible about going back in the evening. Yeah. Or like if you miss the gym in the evening and there's like some of your friends are playing badminton, go do that instead. Mm. Right? It doesn't have to be one particular thing that you're constantly focusing on. It can be multiple aspects of fitness that you can focus on, right? You can go for a run with someone, you can go for a walk, you can go play badminton, you can play a sport, you can go to the gym. That's also an option. You can go swimming, cycling. There are so many things that you can actually do, but whenever we think of fitness, we kind of limit it down to the gym. It always comes to the gym. And, we're trying to, if we don't end up there and if we're not working out there, then we haven't done the right thing. So we either go all or none. Yeah, it's all or none. Yeah. Avoiding that, but coming back into the in between and trying to be flexible with the way we're approaching things. Yeah. So, like to give you an example, one of my clients, he was kind of struggling with his fitness journey, and then I mean, pickleball is all the rage right now here. So he has picked that up, and now he's more consistent than ever because he enjoys playing that game. He enjoys it so much that he plays it regularly. And because of that, he's more in tune with his own fitness journey. So it keeps him more consistent coming to the gym as well. Okay.
So, in other words, I'd like to call these as habits,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And habits are things I would probably define as something we explore, we enjoy consistently
Correct.
with a long term and short term reward,
Yeah.
right? What is a habit for you?
Uh, I think for me, habits is something that is going to, impact your life in a positive way, but it doesn't necessarily have to be easy. So I think habits can be super difficult to maintain, but they always result in something good. That's my personal definition of habits. I mean, you can have bad habits that completely ruin your life, but
Mm.
good habits would be something that impact your life in a positive way, but are hard. You have to work for them. You have to consistently keep trying to maintain those habits. It's not something that, uh, the 21-day thing. I believe in it, but I also feel like you have to try. After 21 days, it's not like, oh, it's ingrained in me, because you can lose it like this.
Mm.
How many times have we gone to the gym for a month consistently, and then the next month you just don't go, right? So consistently maintaining a habit uh, is, I think, the most important thing. Yeah.
And most often, we've heard that research says that when you do something for 21 days
Yeah.
consistently, no matter how much effort you're putting in or not, no matter how much change you see or not, it helps you make or break a habit,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
And if we do that for long enough, it actually develops newer neurons in our brain,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
It develops new pathways in our brain
Correct.
that helps us change our perspective towards the action that we have chosen.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
I completely agree with that. I mean, the neuroplasticity I mean, the research has shown a lot of neuroplasticity when you when you try to develop new habits, or when you try to learn something new. The amount of changes that happen in your brain I mean, it's very well researched. And even with exercise for that matter, uh, there is a lot of neuroplasticity that takes place when you start building a exercise routine, or you start consistently doing something like that. And there's a lot of research that also shows exercise's ability to uh, reduce neurological problems such as dementia and everything, because it's able to maintain your hippocampus size. It doesn't atrophy like over a period of time. And also, after, like, let's say 40 or so, your cognitive abilities slowly start declining, but exercise kind of fortifies your brain and prevents that from happening. Yeah. So I think,
Does exercise help change our mood state as well?
yeah, definitely. I think your ability to regulate your mood is a lot better once you start exercising, because of the hormones that are constantly released during exercise, like your endorphins and your endocannabinoids that help you actually regulate your mood. So when you have that released on a regular basis, your body is a lot more in a homeostatic state, where you're actually able to regulate your moods a lot better, lesser overall lesser anxiety. I wouldn't say completely gone, but over lesser anxiety levels. Again, because when you exercise, you have a big cortisol spike. And when that starts coming down, your body actually learns how to adapt to big spikes in cortisol. It becomes a lot more aware of stresses in your body. And so it's a very good way to actually, you know, handle a stress response.
Okay. I think that's a lot of physiological
Oh, yeah.
areas of
Yeah.
how it actually brings about changes
Yeah.
in the way our mind and body also
Yes.
functions, right? So I think that's very important information there. However, if there were five things you would tell people that these are the things that you could do to develop habits, what would they be?
Five things that you would tell people. Sorry.
To develop habits,
Okay.
what could they do?
Uh, I mean, like we spoke about before, first is your why. Just understanding why you want to do it. That would be step one. Second is, in terms of habit, break it down into steps. Try not to, uh, think of the habit as just one particular block. It doesn't like for example, exercise as a habit. It doesn't mean only gym. It can be multiple things. Exercise is not just gym. It's movement, right? So break it down that way to make it a little easier, to not make it scary. Three is have some sort of reinforcement, either positive, negative. So you reward yourself for completing the habit for X amount of days. So when you initially start, you can say, okay, after 7 days of the habit, I'm going to do this for myself. Or if I don't do this habit continuously for 3 days, I'm going to do this so that I can continue. So I don't want to do this, so I will continue maintaining that habit. So I would say that's three. Um, Four, I would say, is uh I don't know, maybe I think these three I would say are the most important. Maybe not five, but three. I would suggest starting off with this. And then if you're able to find other ways to, make it stick, then you will have like 5 points. But I would say start off with these three at least to keep it consistent and to actually develop that habit.
Okay. Anything else you would like to let us know today?
I think, yeah, a lot of so I think the biggest thing that I would want to convey is don't uh, compare yourself to people around you. Don't compare yourself to things that you see online, to people that you see at the gym. They've gotten to that stage by working a lot to get there, and you just started day one. So take it one day at a time, and try not to be too hard on yourself. I mean, you're starting a journey, so enjoy
This
the
is
journey.
called as gym shyness as well,
Yeah,
right? Where people have the fear of being judged. They constantly compare themselves with
correct,
people around them.
correct.
What do you have to say about that?
Um, I think it's a very it's very multifaceted, in the sense someone can be gym shy due multiple reasons, right? I mean, they might have some body, some issues with the way they look. They might have issues with they might have social anxiety. Just going to the gym and like being around so many people with music blaring, it is scary. Going to some like doing something that they've never done before. Like, they can have multiple reasons of being gym shy. So I would suggest, like, start off small. Don't be too hard on yourself. You can always work out at home. There You don't have to go to a top class gym with the best equipment to, achieve whatever your goals are. You can start off at home. Start off at home, do body weight exercises or whatever it is, and build up from there and build the confidence. Try to interact with people in that community, slowly build that interaction with a lot of different people from different areas, so that you feel more confident. Maybe join a group class, with another friend, and like, that's how you kind of break that gym shyness, because now it's two fools doing something fun. So it makes it a lot more fun. Yeah. Right? Because then it's not like, oh, I'm looking stupid in front of so many people, but it's okay, I have one more pal who's looking stupid with me. So it's like, okay, it's a lot more manageable that way. So you can target it that way. I mean, that's how you can get through that. And honestly, at the end of the day, as long as you're trying, that's all that matters. So even if you're shy to go to the gym, don't. It's fine. No one's forcing you. Take your time, build up to that level where you feel comfortable going to the gym. And if you never feel comfortable going to the gym, you don't have to. It's not something that you have to do. You can get a lot of things done. You can reach your goals without ending up there. So, yeah.
I think if we were to summarize, be confident,
Yeah.
and believe in the goals that you set.
Yes.
Be comfortable about exploring.
Yeah.
Be flexible with the kind of range that you can have for the goals that you set.
Yeah.
And that's when you start building these habits.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for this lovely
Thank you.
conversation.
Thank you for having me.
I think it's been very insightful to learn,
Yeah.
to talk to someone who's been there, done that, right? And coming from you, I think it's very important to learn that these micro skills and these micro steps that we take, smaller steps that we take to bring about this bigger change in our life, they usually say that it's this one drop at a time that builds the ocean.
Yes.
And I think it's been fabulous learning from you. Thank you so much.